Hello friends, welcome to Daily Flow Yoga and Meditation. My name is James. This week we address a theme that is probably the most common complaint I hear in Vinyasa classes. Flexibility. Nobody feels flexible. Hamstrings, hip flexors, shoulders, backs, it's all tight. That's because we've conditioned ourselves for tightness. We sit or are static most of our days, at least in our American Western culture. Complete and total self-acceptance is how we'll embrace where we are and move beyond it to wherever that destination might be. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please take a moment to like and share and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment or send me an email, james@dailyflow.yoga. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to make this a two-way conversation. Or join us for class anytime. dailyflow.yoga/join-class. I'll put it in the notes below. Thank you so much. Namaste. So in this constructive rest, might maybe shift around if you haven't already. Wrap the shoulder blades under a little bit so they're tucked into their pockets. There's a bit of energy in the feet, helping to lengthen and soften through the low back space. And there's a spread across the top of the pelvis, a widening. And to some degree, that's my experience of this. Yours doesn't have to be exactly the same. Just take these first few moments to notice what is there, what you do feel, what's going on. And then start to come into deeper awareness of your breath. You have the benefit of the mat beneath you to give you something specific to which you can anchor your attention. And if they're not already, let the eyes be closed. And see what happens if you get out of the way of the breath, if you let the body breathe itself. Like it does in sleep, like it does anytime you're not deliberately paying attention to it. Stepping out of the way to observe the breath, to experience the breath, rather than to control the breath. A big part of flexibility is that santosha that we studied a while back, contentment, finding ease and acceptance of where you are, rather than idealizing some goal, some imagined picture of flexibility. Simone Biles effortlessly dropping into a split or whatever. Maybe you noticed a change in the breath, maybe a little more belly activity that tends to happen. So start to cultivate whatever experience you had. See if you can keep a connection with what was going on when you got out of the way, while still adding a bit of energy, a bit more, plussing what wants to be there on its own. Together we take 3 rounds of breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhale, opening in all directions. Exhale, releasing deeply. Once more, inhaling and exhaling. Walk your feet in so that they're about hip width apart and the knees point straight up to the ceiling. Lift your toes and plant one down at a time. And taking your arms long beside you, fingertips can brush the heels, heels can brush the fingertips. And slowly start to energize through the four corners of the feet and begin curling the pubic bone towards the heart. So little by little, creeping up into a bridge pose. See if you can find each vertebra one at a time as we start articulating the spine. And if you notice that you skip over some link in that chain, feel free to rewind it and take it again. And then in your own time, whenever you arrive at the top of your bridge, go back down the way you came. Super slowly and easily. Really seeing if you can expand and press down every millimeter of that backbone. Which means as you get closer to the bottom, it might mean a bit of a deeper tuck forward of that pelvic bone. And when you arrive at the bottom, go back up once more. Taking your time. When you arrive at the top this time, there's no hurry. I'm not even close to there. And interlace the fingers underneath your back. Once you arrive, interlacing those fingers, walking the shoulder blades closer together. And then if you can, think about pressing the hands down into the mat. They don't even have to touch it, but that's the energy, that's the intention. And then super grounded in the feet. Shoulder blades actively pulling together. Can you get the heart a little closer to the chin? And then lift the chin a little bit away from the heart. If you find this is tweaky in your low back, you might want to give the glutes a little squeeze. Together we take one more inhale. And as you exhale, lower down the way you came, releasing those interlaced fingers. And then crossing the right knee at the left. We're coming into a supine pigeon here. So making a figure four shape, right ankle at left knee. I think I said knee. Right ankle at left knee. And then place the right palm on the inside of the right thigh and the left palm at the hip crease of the left thigh. And start by gently pressing those away from you. Can you continue to cultivate that low back connection? Now send your breath into that hip space. Big inhale. And exhale. If you have some sensation here that feels good, you're welcome to stay. Or we can thread the needle, interlacing fingers around the left hamstring. And then make a choice about your feet. They can be pointed or flexed, but don't let them just sort of hang there. And then the right elbow starts to guide the right thigh a little bit more out. If your fingers are interlaced around that left quadricep, hamstring, see if you can feel like you're pressing the femur down into the hip socket. So it's not just pulling forward, it's forward and down. So you still feel that good spread of the low back, that big release. And then look for where you feel sensation and send the breath there. Inhaling. Exhale, let that go. And then we're taking a supine twist. So I'm going to keep my figure four going here. Press down through the left foot and shift the hips to the right a little bit. And then let this whole contraption fall over to the left. So the left knee might stay stacked on top of the right ankle. And then maybe the right arm goes out in a T shape to the side. I'm going to bring my left forearm on top of my right thigh. and deepen that twist. If that feels like it's too much, you can always take the ankle and knee apart from one another. Maybe look over to the right. I'm going to take 5 rounds of breath here. Inhaling. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Release all of that. Slowly untangle your legs and bring them back to center. Bring the hips back to the midline of the mat. Maybe windshield wiper your knees, so plant the feet and just let them rock left to right a little bit. See if you find something good there. And then replanting the feet, crossing the left ankle at the right knee. We'll start the way we started before, so bringing both hands to the thighs, left hand on left inner thigh, right hand is right at the right hip crease. And find a gentle pressing away. And notice what effect that has in other parts of your body, your back space, the core. Opening with the breath. Exhale. Stay exactly like this or thread that needle. So fingers interlace around right hamstring. Make the feet either pointed or flexed, but active. And then same as before, the left elbow's gently guiding the left thigh out. The right, the hands on the right thigh are pulling it down and forward. Like a little J shape almost. And then look for where you are feeling sensation right now. For many of us, it'll be in that left IT band and the left hip. But that doesn't mean it's the only place or that it's where it's going on for you. So looking for fully accepting and embracing where you are right now. Big inhale. As you exhale, set the right foot down if it was up. And then pressing down through the right foot, shift the hips to the left just a little bit and let all of this fall over to the right side. The right knee is on top of the left ankle here, if that feels good. If it doesn't, then untangle it. Left arm goes along beside you, and maybe the right forearm just sort of drapes on top of the left outer thigh. Just gives a little weight. Now notice that both shoulder blades are on the mat, and if they're not, see if you can soften them in that direction. We often do a lot of twisting in the low back, but the actual part of the spine that does the twisting, that's made for twisting, is the thoracic, all around the ribs. So really notice that even though the hips are rotated, the actual spiraling happens mostly around the heart. So maybe send your breath there. Nice inhale. Exhale, we'll call that 3. Inhale. 4. Inhale. 5. And then untangle the legs. Make your way back to center. Plant the feet. Windshield wiper the knees. And then go ahead and give the knees a hug. Maybe cross the shins and rock and roll along the length of your spine. Maybe you can rock all the way over onto all fours, or just get there how you need to get there. Setting up for cats and cows. Coming to all fours. And you'll know what you're doing here. So wrist creases are parallel to the top edge of the mat. 10 fingers are spread wide. Inhales, pull the heart forward. Exhales, tuck the chin around the spine. If there's other movement calling out to you, you're welcome to it. One of my teachers points out that our bodies do exactly what we train them to do. I've probably said this before because it resonates with me. So if the thing we train our bodies to do is sit, then our bodies get really good at sitting. Hamstrings get shorter. Hip flexors get tight, because that's what we're asking the body to be strong for. So any of these little subtle movements, and anytime we connect with breath, can kind of shake off the cobwebs. We're reminding our body of what we'd like to train it to do. Coming back to your neutral spine, go ahead and just step the right foot outside the right hand. So you're in a modified lizard here, and maybe inch that left knee back just a little bit. Find a sense of pulling the heart forward here as you sink down into that right hip. You're more than welcome to stay like this, or it might be nice to let the right thigh flop open so you're on the pinky edge of the right foot. And then if that feels good, maybe the right hand comes to the right inner thigh. And then noticing the alignment of your spine. If it feels nice, you can bend the left knee and hold on to the left foot with the right hand. Now that might not feel nice, or might feel like a reach. Anytime you choose to take a bind, it is in service of deepening the posture, not changing it. So if you have to disrupt the alignment in order to hold your foot, I wouldn't. Big inhale. Exhale, let go of all of that. And then tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, and step back to downward facing dog. First down dog of our time together. So if it wants to be a little shorter, that's okay. You can pedal out the heels, shake the head out, softening through the breath, through the jaw. On your next inhale, roll forward to plank. And then just lower the thighs towards the mat so it's an up dog with toes tucked. And exhale back to your down dog. We'll just do that a couple of times. Inhale, roll forward through plank to up dog. I do this literally every morning. Then exhale to down dog. Inhale rolls you forward. Exhale sends the hips up and back. This time, come just to plank and lower the knees down, and then step that right foot outside the right hand. So first, finding this shape. Nothing is rushed. Those right toes are untucked. You feel any points of contact you have with the mat, and send your breath, especially if you feel any sticky spots. Inhaling and exhaling. And then if you want to move on from here, that left thigh can flop open. Maybe left hand comes to left thigh and you get a little traction for a heart opener. And maybe you bend the right knee and catch the right foot. All in service of more heart opening. Now notice if you stuck those low ribs out and see if they can wrap in. So you're knitting together the low ribs. Inhaling. Exhale, let go of any of that. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, and once again, step the left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward to plank. This time as you exhale, lower the knees, and then the chest and the chin. So the heart lands right in front of the thumbs, the chin taps naturally. And then pull the belly through, lift the chest, upward dog, or cobra pose, because the low belly is down. And then send the hips to the heels. Let's take a brief child's pose. Knees nice and wide, big toes touch. Lengthen through the back space so that you feel, just like you did on the floor, that sense of lengthening through the tailbone. that's spreading across the low and middle back. Inhale, exhale, let that go. And then on your next inhale, come back to all fours. Tuck the toes, send the hips high, downward facing dog. And let's just walk the feet forward to meet the hands. Bend the knees quite a lot here in your forward fold, and make sure you can get your hands flat on the mat. It might, for some of us, you might need to walk the feet a little further back so there's some space between the feet and the hands. They don't have to touch. And then see if you can shift the weight a little more into the hands, a little more into the feet, coming to rest at a point where you feel hands and feet have equal weight. And then relax the neck. Feel a sense of the kneecaps traveling upward. Again, the knees can have a little micro bend in them. That's just fine. You can also place your hands on blocks if you have them, if the floor feels far away. Notice here where you experience your breath. Let the expansion of the inhale create space. Let the exhale release more deeply. For many of us, hamstrings are a big deal. And so one thing that has helped me a lot, that continues to help me a lot, is this very yogic idea of energy traveling up through the feet, through the legs, into the hip space, and then through the spine, and back out through the hands. Rather than thinking about stretching, thinking about lifting. One more round of breath, inhaling. Exhale, and then go ahead and bend the knees quite a bit. Bring the hands to the elbows, holding opposite elbows, ragdoll, sway the hips out. And then releasing that, roll yourself up to stand, one vertebra at a time, head and shoulders heavy so they come up last. Gathering the feet to touch. Mountain pose. Hands can be long beside you or in prayer at heart center. Take a moment to feel what it is to be standing. It's different. What has changed? Does this standing feel different than maybe something did this morning? Inhaling. Exhaling. On your next inhale, float the hands overhead. Interlace the fingers, but keep the index fingers pointing due north. Now really find your feet. Really energize through the feet and start to gently send the hips forward and the fingertips back. So every shape, no matter how complicated, is built from the floor up. So active in those feet. And then that same sensation of the thighs lifting maybe gives you a bit of a back bend. It's okay if it's not much. And if this puts pain in the lower back, you can either back off or find more lift in the heart, which might take some pressure off. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale, rise up. As you exhale, take a side bend to your right. So index fingers point to 1 or 2 o'clock. Send the left hips out, and then see if you can wrap that right shoulder blade under. Look up underneath the left hand, perhaps. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale, come back up, release the interlace of the fingers, and exhale, fold forward. Take your time to get there. Bringing hands to the shins, long flat back. Step the left leg back and release that knee down, untuck the toes. Coming into your crescent lunge, we're gonna be here for a little bit. So maybe it's a good idea to interlace the fingers on top of the right thigh and find a gentle pressing down and away of that thigh, anchoring you more in the right foot, giving a little extra lift of the heart. Now notice what's happening in the hip space and in the left hip flexor. So a lot of times what happens is instead of sinking into the pose, we're sort of upright, and that's okay if you have sensation there and that's getting you into a little bit of a comfortable stretch, that's good. But if you feel like that right hip is up, see if you can drop it down. So the pelvis is like a punch bowl, and you don't want to spill. And then from there, energizing through any points of contact you have with the mat. So along that left shin and right foot. And then again, those hands pressing into the quadricep might give you a little more lift in the heart. Now take your attention to the pelvic floor and give a little lift there, that mula bandha feeling. Heart is traveling skyward. Inhale. As you exhale, bring both hands inside the right foot. We're coming back to that lizard shape. You might need to crawl the right foot out to the right a little bit. And then tuck the tuck the left toes, lift the left knee so you're in a high lizard shape. And step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Let's take one vinyasa here. Inhale rolls you forward to your plank. Exhale, either chaturanga or knees, chest, and chin. I'm going to take knees, chest, and chin. And inhale, pull the heart through, release the belly down, cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Sensation of the thighs pulling you back in space. The more weight you can take into your legs, the more pressure it will take off shoulders and wrists, which sometimes get tired in this style of yoga. But the more you're engaged in those quadriceps, the more weight, energy you pull back, the better, easier rather it will be. One more inhale. As you exhale, soften the knees, look forward, and inhale, walk yourself to the top of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse that swan dive, rise up. Exhale, pull your prayer to heart center. Inhale, floats the hands overhead. Interlace the fingers. Maybe change the interlace so it's a little bit the awkward way, but keep those index fingers pointing north. And then find the feet first. Pressing down through the feet, start to send the hips a little bit forward, arms travel back perhaps. Breathing into that heart space, lifting, extending, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, come back up. And then exhale, take your side tilt to the left. Fingers pointing to 10 or 11 o'clock. Right hip going out. Wrap that left shoulder blade under, look up underneath that right arm. Inhale, open up through the ribs. Exhale. And inhale, rise up. Exhale, take your forward fold. Good. Long flat back. And then step the right foot back, release the knee down, untuck the toes, and come up into your crescent lunge. So maybe you start by floating the arms just to find it, and then interlacing fingers, taking them on top of the left thigh. All those points of contact with the mat. So let's review. Everything starts with the mat, so feel the floor, feel that energy in the floor, and then find an evenness in the hip space. So if the left hip wants to be way up or way down, see if you can square everything up. Push the floor away with that left foot. Press down with the top of the right foot. Lift the heart. So the energy of the hands on that thigh is opening up through the heart space. Remember, sensation is good. A little signal that something is going on is good. Pain is bad though, so if something hurts, you can always back off, of course. Inhaling. Exhale, take both hands inside that left foot, heel toe the left foot off to the left of it. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, and then step back to your downward facing dog. Option for one vinyasa here. Inhale rolls you forward. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhaling. Exhale, one. Inhale. Exhale, two.
One more inhale. Exhale, soften the knees, look forward. And as you inhale, walk yourself to meet your feet. Exhale, bow. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, rise up. Exhale, mountain pose. Gathering the feet to touch. Coming back to your intention, if you set one, back to your breath. And then take a scan of your body. See how you feel. One more little piece of this puzzle before we wind it up. Inhale, floats the hands overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale for your flat back. And once again, we're going to step that left foot back, but this time keep the knee up. So you're in a runner's lunge. And then root down. And you can start by bringing the hands to the thigh or overhead, whatever you choose. So we're in a nice high lunge. Feel like you're lifting that left hamstring up as you push back through the left heel. Inhale. Exhale, we're coming to warrior two. So one piece of flexibility that I'd like to talk about is moving through things to kind of, again, release some of those cobwebs. So first in your warrior two, reminder that the right heel is bisecting the arch of the left foot. And it should be a long lunge. So it doesn't matter how deeply your knee is bent. It should feel deep to you. But it does matter that you're taking up space on the mat. Warriors take up space. And then find one strong line from fingertip to fingertip. Look out over that right hand. Flip the right palm. As you inhale, sweep that arm up and back. As you exhale, bring that right elbow to the right knee. We're going to flow here a little bit. Inhale, floats you back, sweep the arms. Exhale, come forward. We'll do 3 more of these. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Feel that opening through those right ribs. Exhale, side angle pose. 2 more. Feel energy in the fingertips. So take your attention there. And then float it forward, exhale. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. Stay here in your side angle pose. And then straightening the right leg. We're coming into triangle pose. You're more than welcome. Your hand can be wherever you want it to be, but wrap those right hips under, look up. Inhale. We're bringing the left hand down to the right shin. Hop the left foot in a little bit. We're coming into pyramid pose. So use the hands on that right shin to guide the heart over the right leg and see if you can pull it forward as you bow. Hands it might be fingertips on the mat. They might be up on blocks if you have them, or books or anything else, or maybe knuckles. I think that feels good. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, heart pulls forward. Inhale. Exhale. Now what are your feet doing? Is there energy in the 4 corners of the right foot? How about the back one? Do you feel the blade edge of the left foot? Can you activate a bit more? If you want a little more intensity in the right IT band, in the outer thigh, set your left hand outside your right foot and send your heart a little more to the right. Super active in the legs. Inhale. Exhale, both hands frame the right foot, bend the right knee, and just step the left foot forward to meet the right and come into your forward fold. Inhale for your flat back. Exhale to bow. We're going to do those things on the other side. So step the right foot back. So you're in your runner's lunge. Nice and long. And then root down, rise up. Maybe hands come to thigh, or maybe they float overhead. If balance is tricky, and I know it can be, just keeping them on the thigh or the waist is a fine choice. Super active in that right leg, lifting up. Maybe you roll out those wrists a little bit. Wonderful. Inhale. And let's come to our warrior two on the exhale. Adjusting your alignment, left heel bisects arch of right foot. Find the length, take up space. Feel those low ribs knit together, and then flip the left palm, reach forward, then up and back, inhale. Exhale, elbow comes to knee, side angle. Inhale, flow back. Feel long in the fingertips. Exhale, flow forward. 3 more, inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. Exhale, back to your side angle pose. And then straightening the left leg, float the right arm, triangle pose. It does not matter where the left hand is on the left leg. It only matters that the hips and shoulders are in line with one another. And then lower that right hand down. For pretty much all of us, myself included, we want to hop that right foot in about 1/3 of the way as we set up into pyramid pose. So feel free to negotiate here. It's not necessarily a direct transition. And then feel the heart pulling forward as you bow over the left leg. Maybe you come to knuckles. That feels good to me. Maybe hands are on blocks or a pile of books. Send your breath into wherever you have sensation. For me, it's a lot in the left hamstring. But if that's the only place you feel it, activate a little more in the back leg and see what effect that has on your hips. Maybe that right hip comes forward a little bit, the left one goes back a little bit. And then if you'd like to intensify, take the right hand outside the left foot and guide the heart a little more to your left. Big breath, inhaling, exhaling. And then go ahead and walk everything back to the center. Bend the left knee, step the right foot forward. Find your flat back, inhale. Exhale, fold. Then heel toe your feet a bit wider until the heels are on the mat, the big toes are off it. So you're in a wider forward fold, and then start to soften the knees, coming through a malasana squat onto your bum. Have a seat. Good. So we're going to end similar to how we started, but maybe with a little more intensity. So you have some options here. The first is taking your right ankle to that left knee and placing your hands behind you. Then you can adjust where the left foot is, so having it closer is more intense, having it further away is less. But look for your sits bones. So even if you have your foot all the way up, but you're rounded quite a bit, that's probably not it. So find the sits bones on the floor and then adjust the foot as close as it's comfortable with a little sensation. And lift that heart. Maybe you use the hands to lift the chest a bit more. And again, look for where the sensation is. If this is all too much, you can go onto your back and take that supine version that we did in the warm-up. Lift the heart, whatever you've chosen, open through the heart space. Even if you're on your back, you can feel a spread of the shoulders, a lift of the heart. Shoulder blades are together, but the collarbone is wide. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. As you exhale, we're coming to a seated spinal twist. So just let the right foot come down to the mat and then bend that left knee underneath you. Make sure that both sits bones are grounded. If that right hip is way up, just extend the left leg in front of you so it'll be less intense. And give the right knee a nice hug. Float the left arm up, inhale. And as you exhale, either hook the left elbow outside the right knee or just give the right knee a hug, which for me today is exactly where I'm going to go. And then take the right hand behind you, give yourself a little extra lift of the heart, and then spiral the chest. So again, twisting happens in the upper spine. So grounding down in those sits bones, lifting through the pelvic floor will help isolate the twist where the twist can do us the most good. Taking pressure out of the low back. One more inhale. And exhale. Then take a brief counter twist to your left, both hands coming to the left side. Then untangle all of that. Plant the feet, maybe windshield wiper the knees a little bit. We'll do the other side. So plant the right foot down, make your figure 4, left ankle to right knee, and then negotiate where the foot needs to be. None of us, I should not say that, few of us is perfectly symmetrical. So don't hold yourself to the same standard on the left that you had on the right, or go deeper if that's a better choice. For most of us, right is dominant and tends to be more open. Planting down through those sits bones, through the palms, lifting up. So technically, this is a forward fold. We're just not bent over. But that's the energy of the heart is traveling forward. The sits bones are grounding us down. We feel that opening in muscles that are built to pull. So opening up through that left outer thigh in particular. Send breath to where sensation is. And let the breath give it a little massage, inhaling. As you exhale, let that fall over to the side. So you're bringing the left foot to the mat and then bend that right knee. Maybe the right foot is underneath, but if you're not grounded evenly in both hips, then take it long in front of you, which is what I'm gonna do. And then planting down evenly in the sits bones and in the right foot, float the right arm up and take your twist. Whatever expression feels right to you. Now lifting up with the pelvic floor, which helps get any of the low belly stuff out of the way. Spiraling of the heart. The largest single organ in our bodies is the fascia, which runs around and in between and through everything, every cell. And that creaky feeling we sometimes have in the morning is actual physical stuff that builds up in the fascia. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, twist more deeply. And then find your counter twist to the right. So we talk about feeling cobwebs. That's sort of what it looks like. They call it, some people call it fuzz, coming back to center. Plant the feet. Roll down onto your back. Coming back into our constructive rest. Feet wide, knees at the midline. Softness in the back, in the breath, and in the words you speak to yourself. We move slowly, so that was a long practice. We'll move shortly into our meditation time. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to like, share, and follow dailyflow.yoga.